Hey there, everyone. It's Weather for Weather Geeks time on this Tuesday. I'm recording this on this Tuesday afternoon at about 2:10. About 10 minutes ago, before I recorded this, there was a severe thunderstorm warning for the far southern part of Columbiana County. It was in effect until 2 o'clock, but then they allowed that to expire. I'm not sure they should have issued a warning on this to begin with, to be perfectly honest. But here's a look at the radar as of 2:11 p.m. Again, if you're watching this later, of course, this will be outdated information, so we won't spend a lot of time on this, but pretty much this is just East Liverpool in Columbiana County, and then south, heading out of our viewing area, that we have a pretty good thunderstorm with some downpours and some lightning and some thunder. We've got a little cell that doesn't really seem to have any lightning and thunder, more in central Columbiana, close to Lisbon. Other than that, things are pretty quiet across the WFMJ viewing area. They put out a warning on this, perhaps for the possibility of some strong winds and some hail. You know, I don't think damaging hail was real likely, but the wind, I suspect, is the bigger deal here. If you look on the right-hand side, these are the Doppler estimated wind speeds, and it looks like right along the leading edge of that thunderstorm, there could be some winds being picked up by the radar here of 35 to 45 miles per hour, which means there could certainly be the occasional gust up to 60, but again, this is primarily now out of our viewing area. This is south of East Liverpool now, heading down towards New Cumberland, Toronto, Weirton, down towards Steubenville. That's where the worst of the weather is. So the panhandle of West Virginia primarily seeing the brunt of this with strong winds and some heavy rain here at 2:12. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because for most of you watching this, this will be pretty outdated information. Larger view of things, they're thinking of issuing a new severe thunderstorm watch this afternoon in this boxed area here, kind of a rectangle, I guess. This is the panhandle of West Virginia, northern parts of West Virginia as well, panhandle of Maryland, into a good chunk of Pennsylvania, but it does not include the counties in Pennsylvania in our viewing area. So I don't think we'll see a severe thunderstorm watch here. And although the radar is fairly quiet as I record this, there certainly could be a couple of additional thunderstorms here before the day is through. We have gotten some comments. Certainly everyone's noticing the humidity building up out there this afternoon. Let me bring up those dew points because, yeah, that's a big story. It's been very comfortable lately, but now the dew points are way up compared to where they've been, into the middle 60s. And as a refresher for those of you maybe a little rusty or unfamiliar with the dew point, we like to use this in the spring and the summer as a measure of how it feels outside. Dew points as you get into summer that are in the 50s, we regard that as pretty comfortable. Once they're into the 60s, it gets to be noticeable, and once they're above 65, yeah, you step outside, it's easy to sweat. You think, oh man, it's pretty muggy out there today, and that's what it does feel like out there this afternoon. It's going to stay pretty muggy, it looks like, through the day tomorrow. So that's the story on the dew points. As far as the temperatures go, it's warm, yes, not quite as warm as yesterday because of an increase in cloud cover today. Here in the 2 o'clock hour, 77 Youngstown Warren Airport, 79 Newcastle. It is warmer where they have a little more sun in central Ohio. It's in the mid-80s out there. All right, so let me bring the radar back up here. Again, things are pretty quiet aside from that cell down in extreme southeastern Columbiana. Could be a few popcorn storms rest of the day. You know, I don't think severe weather is all that likely, but I can't rule it out either. Just like that cell in the panhandle of West Virginia right now, any storm could get a little feisty, bring a brief period of gusty winds and some small hail perhaps, but this is not a widespread severe weather outbreak. They've been getting some much-needed rain over the last couple of days in Texas, and the eastern part of the state is still picking it up. But let's focus on the future now, and I'm going to bring up the latest high-resolution rapid refresh model. This is a high-resolution model that we only use going out to 10, 11 hours usually. And it usually, not always, but usually does a decent enough job with the short term at this time of year of picking up the location of thunderstorms. You know, these thunderstorms that sort of pop up out of nowhere, they're pretty hard to predict where exactly they're going to be. But this model does a decent job with it. Bring up the latest version. Now, this is actually a few hours old. It looks like the model has not been run for a few hours, perhaps some technical difficulties there. But anyway, this is generally speaking what the radar should look like. Let's back this up. Here's 5 p.m., a couple of hours after I record this. And, you know, don't take this verbatim. This is not exactly where any showers and storms will be. But it gives you an idea as to the coverage. Not everyone's going to see rain, but some of us will get some downpours here, end of the afternoon into this evening. Here's 7 p.m. Model does predict a decent little line of showers and storms along Interstate 76 and down through a good chunk of the viewing area. Remains to be seen if that'll be exactly right, but things could be pretty active towards the end of the afternoon. Then after sunset, here's 10 o'clock this evening. Heavier cells probably pushing away, but still that chance for some shower. So bottom line is we're fair game at any point rest of the day today to see some shower and some thunderstorm activity. I'm going to switch gears and head over to tomorrow now. Start this with tomorrow morning. Now this cold front that's slipping in tomorrow is a real slow mover. Let's see here. Bring up the latest NAM for tomorrow. It's a slow mover, and therefore I think we're going to have to allow for that threat for some showers and maybe a thunderstorm for at least the morning tomorrow. Here's 11 a.m., and then here's 1 p.m., 2 p.m. 2 p.m., yes, 2 p.m. Now, as I talked about yesterday, I do suspect that we're going to try to see some drying from north to south in the afternoon. So if you live north of Youngstown, you could be wet through midday, or at least you have the chance of being wet through midday. But I suspect in a lot of places up towards Mosquito Lake and in Trumbull County, northern parts of Mercer County, we're going to see a drying trend and a decreasing chance for rain as we get into the mid to late afternoon. So that's 2 p.m. Here's we'll look forward to 5 p.m. And here's 5 p.m. Notice again the trend is things shifting off to the south. So areas south of 224, we're going to allow for the chance for precipitation all day. But if you live north of 224 and especially north of Interstate 80, I suspect you're going to get away with a mostly dry afternoon and evening on Wednesday. So that's the story for Wednesday. Things are going to look up at the end of the week. Here's Thursday. That same front is still probably lollygagging towards the Ohio River. I suspect the vast majority of our viewing area is dry Thursday. We might leave a 20% chance in, and that's probably for our southern counties. But Thursday, I think, is largely dry as that front settles south. And then the front's gone, out of our hair finally by Friday. Beautiful day Friday. Sun will be out. Humidity will be low. And that'll be the trend over the weekend. Beautiful weekend coming up. Sunshine will dominate. This is Saturday. Nothing going on. Here's Sunday. Nothing going on with high pressure firmly in control. Should be just fantastic this weekend. So we're going to make 2 weekends in a row of fantastic weather here in the Mahoning and Shenango valleys. We've got June, the start of June coming up. Speaking of this weekend, first day of June is Sunday. Here's the latest, the average of the last 7 days worth of runs of the climate forecast system model for the entire month of June. And this has not changed its tune much over recent days, still painting a picture for us in June of near or perhaps a little above average when you look at the month as a whole. Immediate downwind of the Great Lakes, though, probably a little cooler than that, so that's the temperature. Here's the model predicted precipitation anomalies for June. This suggests it could be a somewhat wetter than average month in June, and this would be kind of similar to the May pattern. So far in May, we've been wetter than average, we've been a little warmer than average, and if the climate forecast system is to be believed, the last several runs of it anyway, June could be pretty similar, a little above average temperature-wise, a little above average precipitation-wise. So we'll see how that plays out, but that's the way it looks today on this Tuesday edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. As more thunderstorms pop up, of course, I'm going to keep you updated on social media, Facebook and Twitter. I'm Eric WFMJ on Twitter if you don't follow me there. And I'll have the latest and greatest forecast this evening on 21 News at 6 and 11, so I look forward to seeing you then.